All right, 3, 2, 1. Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Therapy. It's been a while, I know, but do we change? Do we as people ever change? I moved recently to Seattle from New York. And, you know, I've never given this question much thought. I've always said people can change. People, keyword, can. People can change. But to what degree? You know? It's gonna come back to nature versus nurture. But my mom, she's also moving out of where she lives, but she sent me my medical records, which I needed because I need to find a doctor. And she sent me all of my old report cards from grade school. This is when I was 6 years old up until like 11, 12. And in middle school, so 6th grade in the US, there weren't many comments. You know, my math teacher left a comment saying Mark is a conscientious student. Great. But in grade school, there was the classes were split to trimesters. And each trimester, the teacher leaves a comment. And I remember all my teachers very well. And it blows my mind that there are comments in there where I'm like, shoot, dude, I'm still like this. And I don't know what to do with that information. It's weird because I realized that, you know, middle school and high school can be such pivotal moments depending on who you make friends with, who you are inspired by. You know, the nurture can motivate the direction of your nature, let's put it that way. This is displaying weird for me, the game. Is the ground being weird? Is that new? Anyway, it's like shadows or something. So there were two comments. I mean, there was one that kept coming up. It came up in 1st grade, 2nd grade, and 4th grade. My 2nd grade and 4th grade teacher were the same person. She's awesome. And then the first grade one was funny because it was like, Mark is quite the chatterbox, which is like, oh, I mean, I remember being a rambunctious kid, and rambunctious is not putting it over exaggerated. I think I'm not much of a chatterbox anymore. I think I can definitely talk a lot, as we know from these videos, and I think that's, you know, a skill I've honed over the years, so to speak, is the ability to speak but not actually say anything of substance. The video game therapies are kind of, I would hope, partially substance at least. But, you know, I can put on a personality and talk to someone about whatever for a while. I pick and choose when I want to talk in substance, right? But it's just so funny to me that I was like a socially chatterbox as a kid, right? Now the thing that really gets me, because I'm still like this, is like, no, I didn't excel. I did, you know, I got on a scale of 1 through 4, where like 1 is like inconsistently meeting standards, and 4 is like above and beyond, exceeding standards. I got mostly 3s. The 2s were in math, the 4s were in reading and writing. Which, you know, seeing as I'm doing computer science and yet linguistics was my strong suit in college, it seems to check out, I'm not gonna lie. And this one really gets me. And this is, I guess, a little bit of an insight into me. This is probably one of the more personal things I've said. But one of the comments was like, Mark is a bright kid and needs to have more confidence in showing his final work. Another one said, like, Mark has a lot of potential but lacks confidence in his final result. And that's still true. There was another comment that said, Mark enjoys working independently and is there to help if like another classmate or friend needs it or whatever. And I would say that's also true. And it's like I'm seeing the birth of these self-reliant tendencies come out, which are earlier than I thought they would have come out. Actually, are they? I'm not going to go into why I think that, but it makes sense. Let's put it that way. Oh yeah, the shadows are just weird. Damn it, dude. Hell yeah, I'm gonna use my freaking helmet. I feel like I smashed 20 million rocks. Watch it only be like 5. I was joking, game. You weren't supposed to take me literally. I forget what I was saying. I knew that was going to happen. It had me until I saw the 20%. I was like, really? Oh yeah. So like the birth of those self-reliant tendencies, like that's still a thing. I still struggle being like, yeah, I did this. Even in my job, you know, I'll find reasons to be like, you know, I did this, but I don't know. I still have that feeling, right, of taking ownership. And it's just weird because I've never really thought about, hey, can people change? Maybe the question is more like, there are aspects of people that can change. What are those aspects? And that, you know, the answer to that question might differ for everybody. Like my self-reliant tendencies, to put it in a nutshell, the last 7 or so months, as I've come to learn about them, 5 months, it's like I want to become more aware of them, but I don't really want to fix them, so to speak. And to put this into perspective, it's kind of like I moved in recently, right? And the last of my stuff shipped the other day. And I spent like an hour and a half bringing all the stuff up. I could have hired someone for like $60 on, you know, some, it's called, I looked into it for something else, but, you know, to come help me out. I probably could have gotten a friend to come help me, you know, schedule the delivery for a different day. But I didn't think I needed to, you know, I could do this on my own. Not the best example because there's a few more hoops to go through. But the main emphasis here is if I had someone to help me, I could have probably had it done in 30 minutes, but instead I just did it on my own. And I'm very independent when it comes to projects. You know, that was something that I believe to have been behaviorally reinforced through things like school and, you know, group projects, so to speak, both inside and outside of school. You know, I'm still the one running the Cowdino arcade. And then I started running Minecraft at like 14. So there's those things that I want to become aware of, but I don't necessarily want to change. At least not right now. There are things about it that I have to change that, you know, don't work in certain aspects of my life that I want. You know, you got to trust people at some point. And it's just, do people freaking, can I change? Can I change that? If it's been a part of me since freaking the first grade, is that, you know, people can stop smoking. They can change that. I can change my relationship with food, I believe. I can change in that regard. You know, someone who's an ass can one day, you know, some people have religious awakenings and genuinely change everything about themselves. Hate that. Hate that for me. You know, you could lose someone super important to you and become a jaded asshole for the rest of your life, right? So people can change based on a whim, but you can't fight. There's some aspect of nature here that really sends me. I thought I was just gonna laugh at the report cards, but here I am going into a full-on identity crisis. We may need to talk to someone about this instead. And now I'm here in Seattle and I'm alone, and that's great. I don't want this to come into a conversation about self-reliance and loneliness. But long story short, I'm fine being alone at the moment. Like sometimes I feel like I can unleash the inner Chatterbox, you know? But maybe, like that's the kind of thing that in grade school and middle school even, you know, maybe I talked so much that teachers were constantly like, Mark, you need to shut the hell up. And maybe that's what led to like me being so introverted. And I guess air quotes around so introverted. Because it's more like, don't speak unless someone tells you you can speak. Or if you're speaking and someone tells you to be quiet, you know, do that. Teachers wrote, he's very receptive. I would still say I'm very receptive to feedback. one of those things that's behavioral, but positively reinforced over time, right? Oh yeah, let's use terms here. So in the Chatterbox sense, like Mark's talking during history lesson again, he needs to be quiet. That's negatively reinforcing talking, I believe. Because the reinforcement to not talk is happening through something negative, right? A scolding, if you will. And so those aspects become hardened over time. And when we're kids, I guess we're so malleable, right? But because I'm so aware, you know, this self-reliant tendency, suppose I'm in grade school and the teachers are like, Mark always does things on his own. Unlikely for a kid, I suppose, but unless you're, you know, isolated as a kid. But he's always, you know, he rejects friends' help for things. I'm sure if that was a bad thing, teachers might have shaped up and, you know, forced me into group projects, right? And I don't really remember many things from those years. You know, I can't, like now these days, my memory's incredibly, not incredibly good, but it's very good. You know, I can remember whole segments of classes. If you're watching this video, odds are you can think of like a long span of time and multiple events within that period. So my first semester of college, I can tell you probably not all my professors' names, all but one. We're gonna exclude the one. But I can tell you multiple things that happened around the class, you know, how I started as a person, how I ended in that semester, right? These different time frames, benefit of being human. Couldn't do that with grade school. I don't think many people can. But I do remember, like, you know, specific memories. Telling this girl I had a crush on her, you know, losing my stuffed animal. Did I just give away, is that third detail like a thing? I don't know, that felt like a weirdly specific detail, that third one, so we're gonna axe that. Totally forget what I was saying. Yeah, so those, you know, little Marky over here is all working alone. We're gonna make him work with other people. But independent work wasn't necessarily a bad thing, so that, I guess it didn't look like it was reinforced, but, you know, not encouraged either. And now, today, other people have so much less of an influence on me. I think, you know, in my job, I think over the next 2-3 years, I'm gonna become a lot more, how should I put it, team-based. I've worked on like 2 projects now with other people on my team, you know, directly with someone else. I have a pair programming thing tomorrow. And I think that is a positive thing, but it's not going to influence change because other people are saying, hey, Mark, work with these people. I've as an adult, and I use that term loosely, you know, conscious being. For some people that happens, you have matured different ages. Being an adult, I think I need to embrace this, you know, self-reliance, and therefore I'm going to use this as an opportunity to do so. As a kid, you don't have that conscious self-awareness. At least most people don't. You lack that ego, and so things just influence you in that way. You know, kids are malleable. But as an adult, you have to have that conscious setting. And, you know, I think self-reliance is a perfect example for me because in work, right, I'm thinking it's good for me to get, you know, work with other people. They are also being paid to be here, and therefore they have an incentive to actually get done. Wow, let that one slip. And I'm going to leave that in. I don't really care if people swear on this channel. I don't usually swear. I just... Clearly we're in a deep topic. Or I was quoting the method that uses... One of my company's slogans is that. But they get stuff done, but also people on my team really enjoy the work. You know, they're invested, they're really smart people, and I find myself a part of that culture. You know, not the smartest on the team, which is a great thing for the record, but I have some awareness of what's going on, and I'm adamant about learning more, and that's so key, just in general. But for that team, I'm thinking, like today on a call, I said, hey, for a pair programmer tomorrow, that's great. Yeah, I'm low-key new to this. All my projects in the past, you know, were independent. My last job did not require me to work with other people. So, you know, just bear with me. Because I'll have a tendency to rely on someone else too much or do it all. And I don't want to do that. I want to make sure this other person learns because this project's a learning experience for both of us. A little too much detail, but whatever. On the other hand, a really good friend was like, hey, let's, that did happen. But a friend of mine, we worked on on an app in college. The class was the incentive to get it done. And we kind of the 5 people in the group, 2 of us wanted to, I guess the people who wrote the original idea too, we wanted to make the app and keep going after school. She graduated a semester before me, but I decided, she's got the off time, I'm gonna let her do things. And if she does it, then I'll do it. Because I had this history, and still do, of taking ownership. Not credit. If someone said, oh wow, the Cowdino arcade's really great, I would almost definitely be like, yeah, no, the 4 of us who started it. Even though it's been, in 7 years. Anyway. But I can't, with that external project, right, that's not related to work or grades or whatever, I can't rely on someone to a degree. And so it's either I have to do all of it, or I do none of it kind of thing. And I didn't want to do all of it, and therefore I didn't start. Now I'm working a full-time job. We've talked about it. I need to think about whether I want to commit. They said they're in. I have a reason to trust them, which is not a frequent thing I have in people, especially in this scenario. And we'll see how it goes, right? I have some reminder to do is to tell me, but in that case, the commonality between these 2 cases, and because it's been a while, the first case in which work is saying, hey, you need to work with other people. This one, I'm like, oof, kind of want to work alone on this project. I don't actually want to, but that's, what I'm afraid of would happen. And I don't hesitate to work alone on projects. Maybe letting someone at the YouTube channel would be a little bit more of a prevalent example. But the commonality is that I'm aware of the context of both of these, and I'm choosing as to whether or not my environment will change me. But if I'm a kid and I'm talking and a teacher tells me to be quiet, I'm just probably going to listen to them. I've always been someone who, I'll do what you say, especially in school environment. I'm not here to cause trouble, whatever. I never thought it was enough effort to try and rebel. Kids who argue with the teacher about homework or something, just too much effort, bro. Anyway. So, you have to become conscious about changing. And the first step is becoming aware of something. And the second step is becoming aware of the context of something. And the third step is actually making that change. But as adults, we get to choose whether or not we do that, right? So, if someone's racist, that's the most potent example I can think of. But they don't think they're racist. That's a problem. They have to have some realization, something inherent. Someone has to either say the right combination of words, or they have to, have some sort of understanding of how the world works that they don't have or haven't been conditioned for throughout childhood. And they have to realize, oh, this isn't really great. But there are people who choose to do that, who choose to be bigots, and they won't change. Probably. They can change, but odds are they won't. So at that point, can they change? It's a bit of a deeper question of the relation of those 2 things. But, I tried to pride myself on the fact that if someone, and more strongly, if a few people will say hey man, that joke you made didn't really fly, or something like that, then I take that and I think, okay, I try not to define myself by other people's perspectives, but it is what it is. If there's a situation in which I need to back out because I feel like I'm sacrificing, I don't know, something, too much of myself, time, discipline, whatever, then I'm gonna do that. Probably only makes sense to me, which is a problem because I don't know if I need to change that then, but I'm comfortable in not changing it. For now. Anyway, that's all. Can people change? I think so, but they have to be aware of what needs to change, and they have to be aware of the context in which it changes and what pushes them to change it, because as an adult we have that conscious barrier. We're not fueled by behavior. I feel hungry now, but I'm gonna consciously not eat because of keto. Maybe I'll have a burger later, but no carbs. So yeah. that's it. Thanks for watching and or listening. This felt like a good return to VGT. So have a good one. And as always, don't forget to stay awesome.